Today I used 3D printing to make a gift for a friend who sent me this model of a blaster from the game Mass Effect and asked if I would print it for him. His birthday was coming up, so I told him I would do the print, but left out that I would also try to make the blaster look like it does in the game by sanding and painting it too. The blaster prints in two pieces, and after removing the supports and cleaning the pieces with a heat gun, I had to figure out the assembly. The print weighs 529 grams, which is slightly over a pound, and has a seam running down the center. If the bond between the prints wasn't strong enough, the front part of the blaster could fall off at some point. A typical solution for this involves inserting metal rods into each end of the print before gluing. However, this model doesn't have anywhere to insert a rod, so I printed a template and aligned it with one print and drilled some holes. Then I transferred the template to the other print and repeated the process. Even with the template, I was a little concerned that everything might not line up, but to my delight, everything was fine. I then applied a liberal amount of this medium-strength superglue, clamped the two pieces together, and let it all sit overnight. The next morning, I removed the clamps, and the blaster was definitely one solid piece. With the assembly done, it was time to move on to the finishing process, which means filling in the gaps, sanding, and painting. It's common practice to fill gaps of a 3D print in with Bondo, but I don't have any of that, so I used this leftover quick-dry spackling that I had from a previous house project. After filling everything in and sanding, it was time to apply some filler primer. This is all the first coat going down, but I did a few repetitions of priming and sanding over the course of a couple of days, until the print looked like this and I thought it was ready to paint. I started by painting the whole print black, and I did a few layers of that with light sanding. I initially thought that it was looking pretty good, but eventually became dissatisfied with the amount of layer lines that could still be seen. So I backpedaled and did a couple more rounds of the filler primer and sanding before painting everything black again, and I was a lot happier with those results, even though it still wasn't perfect. All that was left to do was paint the silver part of the blaster and add the finishing touches. I taped up the parts of the print that were staying black and did a few coats of the silver and then got to peel the tape back, which was very satisfying, albeit a little bit difficult to do with one hand. I don't have any footage of me actually adding the finishing touches because I literally did them in my car at the last minute, but here are the final results. I'm really happy with how this turned out, and so was my friend. He put the blaster in his man cave next to a bunch of other cool video game accessories.